Magandang umaga, Pilipinas! Welcome to Eagle News Mornings from Canada. I'm Archie Rose Natividad Yi, reporting from Vancouver in the province of British Columbia, Canada, bringing you news and commentary from across the country. Here are today's top stories. BC's unemployment rate comes down for the first time in months. State of emergency extended to continue BC's COVID-19 response. BC posts biggest one-day jump in COVID-19. City of Calgary considers a plan to connect the LRT to the airport. NBA players and coaches weigh in on the first day of practice in Orlando. Well, we start another week. Good Monday morning. As you are grabbing a fresh cup of coffee, here's what the weather looks like in Manila. AccuWeather is forecasting a high of 30 degrees Celsius. Skies will be cloudy with a stray thunderstorm in the afternoon. Air quality is excellent. Now let's check out the weather across Canada. Our weather street scene comes from Kelowna, British Columbia. Located in the Okanagan Valley, about a 4-hour drive from Vancouver, Kelowna is a popular vacation spot with great weather all year round, a wonderful food scene, world-class vineyards, beaches, ski hills, and great views. Let's go across the country, starting from the West Coast. Vancouver, Canada, partly sunny at 20 degrees. Edmonton, thunderstorms at 20 degrees. Calgary, showers and thunderstorms at 19 degrees. Winnipeg, sun and clouds at 28 degrees. Montreal, mostly cloudy at 27 degrees. Ottawa, mostly sunny at 27 degrees. Toronto, variable clouds at 27 degrees. Halifax, cloudy and humid at 22 degrees. Fredericton, cloudy and humid at 26 degrees. And finally, St. John's, cloudy at 20 degrees. Now, over to our top stories. Minister of Finance Carol James issued a statement regarding information released by Statistics Canada on British Columbia's latest employment data. For the first time in months since the declaration of the first state of emergency on March 18, unemployment rate has gone down. According to the monthly labor force survey conducted by StatsCan, as British Columbia gradually returns to economic recovery in Phase 3 of the provincial government's restart plan, the unemployment rate is now at 13%, a 0.4 decrease from last month's reports, in comparison to a year ago, where the unemployment rate in BC was at 4.6%.
Day for British Columbians paints a picture of cautious optimism with a long road ahead of us. We continue to see positive signs as a result of BC's restart plan. In fact, more than 118,000 people found jobs last month. And when we look over the longer term, employment gains in May and June bring back about 40% of the total job losses we've seen in BC since February. So no question these numbers are encouraging. But as I said, we have a long way to go. It's clear that there are still thousands of British Columbians and businesses that are still struggling. The total net job loss since the start of the pandemic stands at 235,000. And again, while that's a large number, those are people, those are families, those are individuals and communities. Consistent with what we've seen since the start of the health crisis, the services sector continued to show the greatest overall losses since the beginning of the pandemic. But as businesses reopen and we go through the restart, it's actually where we're also seeing the significant job gains. In fact, the accommodation and food services sector accounts for 50% of this month's gain in jobs. But again, despite the job gains, as more people look to enter the workforce, it does affect our unemployment number. So BC's unemployment number for June stands at 13%, which is down slightly from 13.4% in May. BC's unemployment rate, as I mentioned, remains higher as more people look to enter the workforce. That may reflect an increase in the demand for jobs, as well as an increase in confidence that people will have the opportunity to go back to work as they start looking again.
The BC provincial government has led the way in constructing one of the most comprehensive recovery plans in Canada in supporting residences and businesses, providing emergency benefit for workers, assisting just over 600,000 British Columbians whose employment was affected by the COVID-19 crisis, as well as tax credits, business tax cuts, rent supplements, disability income assistance, tax payment deferrals, and a number of other support. As the province continues to make gains in its restart plan, Finance Minister Carole James reiterates that British Columbians must continue to stay disciplined and aligned with the public health advisories as announced by BC's Public Health Officer, Dr. Bonnie Henry.
We need to stay focused on our restart plan, doing it in a safe and responsible way so that we can see more and more businesses open. You'll remember me saying last month that I thought it was important to note that restart does not mean full rehire. Businesses are taking it cautiously. They're making sure that their employees are safe. They're making sure their customers will be safe. And people are starting to see that confidence by going back to businesses. That's going to give British Columbia a head start when it comes to our economic recovery. And the most important piece to reiterate again, of course, is the importance of following Dr. Bonnie Henry's advice and Minister Dix. The best start we can have for our economy, the best recovery for our economy, is making sure that we continue to fight COVID-19. And that's a huge appreciation and thank you to all British Columbians who have done an exceptional job. And I know we'll use that same kind of energy and discipline and care and attention as we get into economic recovery and through the restart.
The BC government has extended the provincial state of emergency, allowing officials to support the province's COVID-19 pandemic response. Joining me live this morning is Kathleen Cruz with more details. Good morning, Kathleen.
Good morning, RT Rose. Yes, correct. British Columbia has once again extended the provincial state of emergency until July 21st. This allows the government to continue to provide restrictions in the province under the Emergency Program Act of non-essential to support COVID-19 emergency pandemic response. Mid-June, the government issued flexibility of non-essential travels within the province, including businesses in the tourism industry to be operational again. However, experts are warning British Columbians that there is a possibility of the province returning to lockdown once number of positive cases rise again, a similar response to other states and countries to halt the second wave of the coronavirus. In the past week, there are new number of positive cases being announced, especially people are starting to be out and about. Although BC Premier had stated to keep the international border closed and not give up the ground that they have diligently worked on and accomplished to flatten the curve. As restrictions are slowly easing up and COVID-19 risk is still very currently low in the province, BC health authorities continue to remind British Columbians to avoid close spaces, crowds, and close contact with others. The bubble might have been expanded for Canadians, but the virus is still around. In Vancouver, Kathleen Cruz, Eagle News, will live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Would you be able to tell us what are your thoughts about the growing number of cases in this phase of the restart plan?
Yes, RJ. So when we entered phase 3, so the government entered phase 3, there were no cases of we flattened the curve and no new cases of COVID-19. But the slow increase is quite alarming because the transmission of the COVID-19 is exponential, right? So, but as long as everyone is disciplined and contact tracing is active, I think we should be okay to proceed on phase 3. Otherwise, again, our economy will take a hit on that. So I think as long as everybody is doing their best to keep their distance with others and, staying home when they're sick, then I think we should be okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody is raring to get back into normal. Have you noticed any changes in public behavior since the announcement of phase 3 in the restart plan?
Yes, well, I've been seeing people wearing masks. Definitely, even when I go out, I wear my mask, especially when I'm going to grocery, going to parks, and I know there's going to be people there, but some people might be, losing that restriction. So it is still advisable to wear masks, but it's not compulsory in our region, right? So, and beaches and parks are starting to become busy again, which indicates that people are starting to enjoy their summer. And, but again, people shouldn't be complacent with this as long as that the virus is still there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. As much as we want to enjoy kind of the relaxation of restrictions, we want to still be mindful that the virus is still happening. There's still cases out there, and continue to stay safe. So, in other, in other news, what have you been up to during this next phase?
Yes, Archie. Well, I wanted to spend my summer productively, but I also wanted to be safe, especially I'm living with my parents as well. I don't want them to get sick. With very little travel plans around, I've been staying away from big crowds. I've just been focusing on some little home DIY home renovations. So that's just, repainting our house to make it modern, decluttering some household items that may be laying around that haven't been touched, that we no longer need. So something very productive and wanted to be avoiding crowds. So I think it's becoming a productive summer for me. So definitely the best time to keep me busy while I'm staying home, right?
That's wonderful. Well, glad to hear that you are staying safe and obviously staying productive. Thank you so much for joining us, Kathleen. If you're just joining us, it's 7:16 and 30 degrees in Metro Manila. You're watching Eagle News Mornings from Canada.
All or nothing na ang magiging labanan sa tagisan ng galing. Dahil ang top 30 ay sasalain na para mabuo ang top 15 semi-finalist.
Sino ba sila? Karaniwang tao, saan ka tatakbo? I've been praying for.
Tutukan niyan this weekend sa pinakamalawak na talent competition on Philippine TV and online. Ito ang Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sanmig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sanmig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. VetaPro NutriChoice, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa NutriChoice. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee. Masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, Our Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation. East West Bank, your dream, our focus.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandmix Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandmix Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The Bulacan Bulk Water Project is a treatment facility that will provide bulk water to the 24 municipalities of Bulacan to meet the increasing water demand of its residents. Through concessionaire, SMC Infrastructure also initiated the significant improvements of the Manila North Harbor Port, the country's busiest port.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
You're watching Eagle News Mornings from Canada. I'm Archie Rose, the TV Dad Yi from Vancouver, Canada. Eagle News correspondent Vanessa De La Cruz joins us live this morning to talk about the status of the coronavirus in British Columbia. Good morning, Vanessa.
Good morning, Archie Rose. Yes, so the Friday's announcement of new cases in BC is one of the biggest jumps since May 8. There was an increase of 29 cases. There has been exposures at a well-known gym in Vancouver and possibly on flights to Vancouver. 2 remain in long-term care facilities. Dr. Bonnie Henry, who has won several awards, most recently the 2020 Canadian Public Relations Society President's CPRF Award for the Outstanding Public Relations and Communications Management, and has been reportedly nominated for the Order of Canada. She has mentioned that there are no cases relating to the anti-racism protests a couple of weeks ago.
No, we have not seen, so we follow up every single case here in BC, as you know. Currently, we do not have any cases that have been associated with the protests that took place. I think there's a number of reasons for that, and in talking with my colleagues in the U.S., they also have not seen surges related to those activities, and it is likely a combination of them mostly being outside, being shorter periods next to people, perhaps. Many people, at least here in BC, keeping distances, wearing masks, and those things can help. I think particularly the outside nature of them makes a big difference.
However, she mentioned there have been cases linked with parties and large gatherings on the beach, so she emphasises precautionary measures still need to be made when outdoors. In Victoria, Vanessa De La Cruz, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. You know, Dr. Bonnie Henry has been what seems to be a public favorite. Can you please tell us about the newfound fame that Dr. Bonnie Henry has experienced?
Yeah, sure. So there's definitely been a growing fan base for Dr. Bonnie Henry. So a Vancouver jeweler has actually made a necklace for Dr. Bonnie Henry and named it after her, and it's called actually the Bonnie Bee. And one designer actually made a limited edition shoe, the Dr. Henry shoe, which was sold out in a few seconds. And one most weird and unique one is that a baby octopus in the aquarium in Sydney was actually named after Dr. Bonnie Henry. So there's been a growing fan base for her.
Yeah, definitely. Dr. Bonnie Henry has gained acclaim not only here in British Columbia, across the nation, and now worldwide. What is it about Dr. Bonnie Henry that makes her so endearing by the people?
I think it's her approach. So it was her calm, compassionate approach when she was delivering the coronavirus news. She was not only knowledgeable, she gave clear direction, which was good for British Columbians and for, I guess, people who recognize that across the world.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Vanessa. And in the city, thank you. In the city of Calgary, the city considers a plan to connect the LRT to the airport. Eagle News correspondent Rachel Luces has this report.
The city of Calgary is considering an LRT line connection heading towards the Calgary International Airport. On June 24th, a project update has been released by the Transportation and Transit Committee with regards to the final airport transit study. Currently, Calgary's available LRT lines are Red Line going northwest to southwest and Blue Line going northeast to west. The Calgary International Airport is located at the northeast area, having Blue Line as its closest LRT line. Options of airport buses are still active until today. In addition to that, Calgary Transit continues with an approved proposal for a Green Line LRT connection, adding 29 stations from north to southeast. In correlation with the Green Line proposal, the improved light rail transit access will be connecting Green Line North and Blue Line Northeast. The City of Calgary is still working on a project outline with factors considering the alignment of stations, transit technology, maintenance, land and staging requirements. According to the City of Calgary, there is currently no funding for the details and construction of the connection. The detailed design and construction will not begin until 2021. In Calgary, Canada, Rachel Luces, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks, Rachel. NBA players and coaches weigh in on their team practices in Orlando, Florida. Eagle News correspondent Tenny Sumagi files this report.
Chris Paul, Eric Spoelstra, Zion Williamson, and others have reunited, and it feels so good as day one of team practices have completed.
You know, the team group chats are always great. The team Zooms were great, but it's nothing like seeing each other. So today to get out on the court and hoop a little bit together is definitely a breath of fresh air.
You could just feel an incredible, genuine sense of enthusiasm and joy for the guys seeing each other all in the same place at one time.
I feel like this is what you missed. Just to come back and see the guys and kind of hang out and do all that is something that you miss about the game.
You know, it's good to be in one environment, you know, with the whole team and coaches. It was just good energy today.
It was an excellent environment to practice. Everybody wanted to play more when we were done. That's good because we've got a build up here over the next 3 weeks where we feel like we can do exactly what we need to do to be ready.
I'm excited, to get back on the floor with my teammates. I feel like we're all out there right now. It's got to go out here and win, make the playoff push.
I talked to each guy and the team as a group about why we were here. We're on a mission. Nothing's going to distract us, and that's our message. This is a business trip for us.
Stay tuned to Eagle News for more updates and highlights of the restart of the NBA season. In New York, Tenny Samagi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Tenny. To see more sports discussions, tune into EBC Sports International Home Edition. Lots of talk, lots of debate, and lots of interesting conversations. You can find them on YouTube and on Facebook. More great programming from EBC. For more news updates, visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNews and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/EagleNews. That's our program for today. Thank you for watching. On behalf of the Eagle News Canada team, we will continue to keep you updated and informed so that you can keep yourself, your family, and friends safe. In Vancouver, I'm Archie Rose Natividad Yi. Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Stay tuned for Kid Cuento coming up next.